Yeah, Del? Well, I know what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that awesome Delfest memory that we just relived thanks to the lot scene. The McCurry's Thursday all request sound check set kicks off every festival and it's always a highlight. But the 2016 version was especially memorable because of that request for a marriage proposal that we just witnessed. Now, Mike and Therese Hayden are an awesome couple. They've been coming to Cumberland from Milwaukee, Wisconsin for many years, and it's really at Delfest where their love really blossomed. So there was no better place than the grandstand stage for Mike to get down on one knee, get the mic from Ronnie McCurry, find the ring in his pocket, and propose to Therese in front of all of Deltopia. And because Mike knew that I'm Mr. Deltopia and we had camped near each other for a year or two prior, he got a hold of me and I helped put the whole thing together. I contacted the McCurrys and they were super happy to help and set it up so that we could get backstage and get to where we needed to be. But it was all on me to get those two there and make sure that Therese didn't find out. And boy, let me tell you, I actually just winged it. We were hanging back at camp and I said, hey, you guys want to go over, check out the sound check set? And I remember Therese, in true Milwaukee fashion, wanted to shotgun a beer before we went over. And Mike and I kind of just looked at each other like, boy, she doesn't know what's about to happen. But it was all good. We walked over to the stage, but in my head, I'm thinking, man, how am I going to get these guys back there? Well, lucky enough, it starts raining. So I said, hey, let's go to the tents in the backstage area and be dry and watch the sound check set. And she didn't think anything of it. We went back there, and then once we were back there, I said, well, now that we're here, why don't we go up to the side stage and watch from up there? That's one of the things you can do when you can come backstage. And again, she didn't think anything of it. We were standing there on the side of the stage watching the set. And the song ends, and Del says, and now we're going to bring out Mike. And Mike starts to walk forward. And Teresa's like, no, Mike, they're talking about some other Mike, and grabs him, trying to stop him from going on stage. She was so surprised. She had no idea. And I love how the lot scene was able to capture their pure love and the kiss off to the side in the camera. It's one of my all-time favorite Delfest memories. And it really captures the love that has formed with Delfest over the years. I mean, there's been marriages that have taken place out there. Lots of people have fallen in love. Lots of people have had children, even a few named after Del himself. It's just an example of that Delfest magic that gets in the air every Memorial Day weekend. And really, the guys at the lot scene have a lot to do with that. Last year, they were the ones that put Del's head on the side of the mountain. And they always hand out pins with like Del's face on it or sunglasses that say Del Yeah. In addition to writing reviews and taking photos and capturing video like the last two you just saw. So before that was Elephant Revival with Single Beds Are Made for One, an instrumental song from the grandstand stage at Delfest. And then before that, they were actually flying in a plane to cap off the Travelin' set, doing their song Spinning live at 35,000 feet. But the Travelin' part of the set started off with the Travelin' McCurrys stuck in traffic on I-70, just like Rapid Grass was singing about in last week's episode. But the McCurry brothers made the most of it, picking a little Lonesome Road blues in the van. And that's really an apropos song for them to be playing in many ways, because not only is it about being bummed while you're traveling, it's also a song that directly connects Bill Monroe and Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead. Because back in the 40s, the Bluegrass Boys were playing the Lonesome Road Blues, and then all the way into the 90s, the Grateful Dead was playing Going Down the Road Feeling Bad, which is the same song. And then, of course, in the teens, the Travelin' McCurrys have been known for playing a lot of Grateful Dead songs themselves. They've been doing this Grateful Ball tour, especially with the Jeff Austin Band, doing full sets of Grateful Dead covers. They've even done it at Delfest. And I promise we're going to have one of those songs in next week's episode, part 2 of the Delfest 2018 special. But part 1 continued on with the Travelin' theme, with the Travelin' McCurrys, who were out of traffic but still in a van, jamming in the van at the High Sierra Festival with the song Travelin'. And that's one of my favorite songs of theirs. And I really hope it finds its way onto their long-awaited debut album, which has been announced for 2018. And right after that, we stayed in the same van at the same festival with the Brothers Comatose doing The Ballad of Tommy Decker, Prince of Hate Street, off their 2010 album Songs from the Stoop. And from the van, we went to the bus. That's the Mountain Line bus in Missoula, Montana, home of the Lil Smokies, who were doing their song Winded, led by dobroist Andy Dunnigan. He's their lead singer and writes a lot of the songs, and I really love that one off their latest album. And I love the fact that they were in their hometown's ad for their local bus line. I think that's really cool and a really awesome way to show off music and public transportation, which is a great thing. And then we went to a different mode of transportation entirely with the Wood Brothers in a revolving restaurant filmed during Americana Week back in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, the Wood Brothers aren't really a bluegrass band in any fashion, but that's why I recruited my buddy and one of their biggest fans, Jacob Matthews, to find me them doing a bluegrassy song. And Fox on the Run is perfect because that's a song that was brought to bluegrass by Bill Emerson and the Country Gentlemen in the early 70s, but it was actually written by Manfred Mann as this crazy rock song in the late 60s. So I'll put a link to the original version as well as the Country Gentleman version down in the description so you can compare and see how in the history of bluegrass they've been incorporating rock and roll songs just like rock and rollers have been incorporating bluegrass songs. And as we come to a close on this episode of Bill's Bluegrass Breakdown, I'm going to leave you with a couple bluegrassers who are doing some really rockin' and rollin' of their own. Here's my favorite memory from 2017's Delfest as recorded by Jay Strasser. Here's Brian Sutton sitting in with Billy Strings on the grandstand stage getting rowdy on Freeborn Man on Bill's Bluegrass Breakdown. Del yeah, everybody.